there are times where, employees who've been with you quite a while, they outgrow your company. Maybe they outgrow the role, and it's okay to move on. You don't have to feel bad about it. It's your responsibility to put up the elite team on the field at all times, and sometimes, unfortunately, that means making tough, bold decisions.
Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Join host Marco Torres, along with expert guests, as they deliver incredible, proven solutions to your marketing challenges in each power-packed episode.
Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. I got a question for you. Have you ever had doubts in your own credibility? Have you ever wondered or had that, what we call the imposter syndrome? For nearly 3 decades, my guest today has been on the front line of learning through that ever-changing leadership and development landscape, gaining insight into what works, how great leaders learn, and why learn it all companies outpace their competition. Coming to the business from a baseball career, he brings an athlete's perspective on leadership and training to his informal mentoring of executives. He's distilled those hard-won insights into his best-selling book that he published about a year ago, Learn It All, Leader, Mindsets, Traits, and Tools. Welcome to the show, please, Damon Lembi. Hello, sir.
Marco, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you kidding? My pleasure to have you and your wisdom on the show, talking to our community of entrepreneurs on the difference between management and leadership. And one of the key things that got my attention with your book and your other podcasts I've heard you on is your expertise on, that overcoming that imposter syndrome, which I think especially hits the community of small entrepreneurs launching their business. We have a bunch of Marketing Boost members that are, relatively new, getting started, solopreneurs. And when you're delivering a service and you're new, one of the things that I recall when I'm starting out is, am I really qualified? Do I, you doubt your own credibility as a manager, as a leader, as you're growing either the corporate ladder and or especially launching your own business. What got you where you are? Tell us about that background from baseball to corporate and
Sure.
how you ended up in the coaching business so many years ago.
Yeah. So, my name is Damon Lembi. I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I started off my whole life growing up. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and I was fortunate. I was a high school All-American. I had the opportunity out of high school to go either into the minor league draft. I was drafted by the Atlanta Braves. I got an opportunity. I got a scholarship to Pepperdine University. I took the scholarship, and one of the main reasons why I went to college over the minor leagues was I really believed, and I think this is important for leaders and entrepreneurs, I believed in the vision of what our coach had. And our coach said, we're going to win the College World Series. So it was a moonshot goal. And so I followed that, went there. And very early on, I realized I was surrounded for the first time in my life by some of the best players in the country. And that's really the first time that I struggled with the imposter syndrome, like you were mentioning a moment ago. So I got hurt at Pepperdine, and we can get back to the imposter syndrome later. Got hurt at Pepperdine, left. I went to junior college for a year, and then ended up transferring to Arizona State, had a good career there, thought I had another chance to go and play minor league baseball and continue my dream to be a Major League Baseball player. I didn't get drafted, and here I was, 22 years old, and I was saying to myself, I kind of lost my identity. It's like, well, what's next for me? What do I do? And I wasn't sure if my skills were transferable, and so I was fortunate that I came from a family who had several different businesses, and a large real estate company to a hotel chain. But my dad was starting, Marco, he was starting a small computer training company called Learn It. And he started that company, Learn It, like a lot of great entrepreneurs. He wanted to learn, remember, this is back in 1993. He wanted to learn how to digitize his portfolio, and he thought there's got to be a better way to do it. And so he went and took a class. He hated it. He thought it was boring. So he came up with this idea for short classes, and that's where Learn It came about. I started there as a receptionist. I wanted to work my way up. And also, like I said, I was kind of intimidated. So over the years, I taught classes, I did sales, I did marketing. And then about 5 years into right around 2000, they were looking for a new CEO. I threw my hat in the ring and I said, give me a shot. My dad did. I thought I was one of the greatest CEOs around. As you remember, the dot-com bubble, especially out here in San Francisco where I'm at. And then everything kind of collapsed. But learn it, survive, thankfully. And through the years, we've evolved into a learning and development company. We do live instructor-led training. We work with businesses across all throughout the world. And we've evolved into doing mostly like leadership skills, emotional intelligence, communications, and things like that. And I'm proud to say that over the 29 years, we've helped upskill close to 2 million individuals through our trainings. And last year, I wrote a book called The Learn It All Leader to kind of share my experience in baseball and sports and running a small business all these years. Talk a little bit about my father, and here we are. So it's great to be here today.
Powerful book.
Thank you.
The quick, flip through that haven't had a chance to read the entire thing, but reading the reviews as well that others have read or have said about the book, and has gotten me to want to start digging in. But as we go into that book, well, what are the 3 steps approach? Again, going back to the imposter syndrome, what's that 3-step approach, or can you spell that out a little bit more to overcoming the imposter syndrome?
Sure. So we all deal with imposter syndrome at some point in our lives, and anybody who says they don't, or either a sociopath or they're just really not telling the truth. The first time I really had to deal with the imposter syndrome was, like I mentioned, at Pepperdine in baseball. And then when I moved over to Arizona State, this is where I came up with this kind of framework. And so before I get to my framework, the first thing you need to do when it comes to imposter syndrome is to really identify or label, what you're worried about. And so if you're an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, think about, what am I worried about? Are you worried about failure? Are you worried about losing your savings? For me, I was worried about, not making the team. Okay. So whatever. And what's the worst case scenario if you don't make the team? Then you just move on with your life. Right. So it's, in most cases, it's not the end of the world. So now, once you've gotten that out of the way, my 3-step framework is this. Number 1, work hard. There's no substitute for work. I'm not saying put in 10 to 14 hours a day, but you need to really put in the effort. There's no shortcuts. Step number 2 is focus. When something is difficult, it's easy to procrastinate, go do something else or lose your focus. Focus in on what you're trying to accomplish. And then step number 3, once you've worked hard and you've really put in the effort and you've focused, step 3 is learn and let go. Let's say you have to do a big presentation, and you've prepared for it and you've worked hard. Well, just like in baseball, when it's game time, it's game time. It's time to stop thinking about all of the the technical things you worked on or whatever, and just go out there and give your best shot. And sometimes it will go great. Sometimes maybe it won't go so well. But no matter what, if you've put in your best effort, it's always going to be a learning opportunity for you to grow and develop next time. And a lot of times people are just, when I say let go, people are just too hard on themselves. Pat yourself on the back and that you've tried and that you keep evolving. And especially as a small business owner or a solopreneur, you're going to try things, Marco, I'm sure you'll agree. You're going to try things that fall flat on your face, and you'll look back. I look things I did 20 years ago, ideas I had. I'm like, oh, that was dumb. But you learn from them and you continue to evolve. So my 3-step process in overcoming imposter syndrome is, after you've labeled and understand what your fears are and what the worst case scenarios are, work hard, focus in, and then learn and let go.
Yeah, that's good. I don't remember if it was your book or somewhere else that I've heard that, when you're something you've learned and you can teach, like you can bend down and tie your own shoes with without thinking about it. But when you try to teach somebody how to tie their own shoes, suddenly it can become where you've got two left thumbs here and you can't figure it out.
Totally.
Was that part of your book somewhere, or I'm trying to recall where I got that line from?
No,
Um,
it wasn't part of my book, but it's funny that you say that because I always like with my wife's much better than I am using my iPhone and all the apps and everything. And whenever I ask her how to do something, I said, "Can you just show me?" And she's like, "No." She just grabs it from me, and she said it's much easier for her to just
do
do
it.
it than actually show how to do it. So yeah, it's a great skill to be able to articulate and do it because you're right. Sometimes uh, it's much easier to tie your own shoes than it is to try to teach somebody how to tie your shoes.
That's been, if I've ever, some of the imposter syndrome I've had is the ability to teach. I don't consider myself great at it. In other words, I might know how to do something, but to have the patience and the process and to set up a good system to teach others to do what I want them to do, I'm terrible at it. And so, that sometimes affects, if I'm going to build a I haven't ever, for example, I've never sold a training course or what have you, because I just don't feel I'm qualified qualified to be the trainer, so to speak. But anyway, moving on here, one of the questions I have for you is about hiring potential over experience and why that's a good idea.
Before I go there, one last thing I'll say about what you just talked about. You are qualified to develop a course. It's like when I came out with my book, I didn't really know if I wanted to put it out there because what if people thought it was terrible? I mean, so I think, and this is important for your audience to know, is you're probably a lot better than you give yourself credit for. So just stick your neck out there and try things. I mean, Marco, just from the research I've done, you've got so much experience that people can learn from, as they already do from your podcast. So for everybody out there, if you have something that you're good at and you believe in, don't worry about what other people think. Just go for it.
Put it down, put it in writing, write the book. I've had
Get it out there.
people telling me, yeah, I too have not written a book yet. And it's like, put it in writing, get it out there, tell your story, and so on and so forth. So, yeah. Um, so again, moving on to the leadership, in that
Potential.
leadership role, management versus leaders.
Mhm.
How, well, we can get to the potential versus experience, but leadership versus management, especially with small companies, what kind of advice would you give? The majority of our audience are small business owners, 10 employees or less. How do they build that team and lead versus managing them?
Well, I think that in companies, you need a little bit of both. You need managers and you need leaders. And I look at it like, okay, so let's use the example of going on a vacation. So going on vacation, the leader is the one who has a vision for the vacation, knows what they want to do, knows what they want the outcomes to be from it. And then the manager is the one who comes in, does the work, and carries out all the details, right? So there's somebody the leader sets the vision, manager carries them through. In small businesses, sometimes especially if you're by yourself or if you got a small team, the small business owner, I think, really needs to set a crystal clear vision, which can change over time, about what your product's going to be, how you're going to serve your audience, and the purpose of your organization. And then the management part of it is executing on that vision and that purpose. Also, for those of you just starting out there, when it comes to hiring, whether it's you're going to hire people from Upworks, you're going to have full-time employees, surround yourself with great talent. You can't, as a small business owner, you probably have an idea, you probably maybe have the technical skills, but you can't be the jack of all trades, master of nothing. So surround yourself. That's something that I've always been really proud of, is I've been able to surround myself with people who are smarter than me, better than me, and kind of worked alongside them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I always coach people on that as well. I think one of the mistakes too many entrepreneurs make is we're kind of control freaks and kind of feel like, well, nobody's good can do it as good as I can. And so you find yourself trying to build your own website, trying to set up your own do all the CRM setup, trying to write your all the email sequences, trying to do everything yourself. And by the time, you're never, like you said, you can't be an expert at everything, and you can't do the build your product, build your service, and do all the technology. So it's like hire people that are better than you at different areas, and let them, and give them some room to build it, to do it, and manage it versus or oversee it versus trying to do everything yourself. Uh, and that team will make a big difference in making your business grow faster than you could ever do it all by yourself. And that does mean you may have to. It's an investment. You're going to have to spend some money to have that team. And fortunately, today's it's never been easier to hire amazing talent, via Upwork or Fiverr or what have you, whether they be in your backyard or on the other side of the world, that can easily and quickly be available to you for a few hours a week or full time. So there's really no excuse now for not having some team members on board. I would
Yeah,
imagine
and
you would agree.
it's not only an investment, you're 1,000% right. You can't do it all. It's not only an investment financially, it's also you have to learn to have patience and be able to provide these people that you work with clear directions, delegation, and let them know it's okay to make mistakes, instead of jumping in and taking over and doing the work for them. Because if you can make that effort and help them grow and evolve, it's going to help you scale so much better. So it's an investment, because you can't do it all. And sometimes you also need to think about, like, what's the value of your time? If you could hire somebody, if you can, if say you're in a coaching business and you can get $150 an hour, but you can get somebody on Upworks for $40 an hour to write copy, then do that, and spend your time on more higher producing income opportunities. So it's just being strategic and smart and realizing you can't do it all yourself.
Absolutely. With that, let's take a break, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Damon as we talk about leadership. And next up, we're going to be talking about the trust tax and why that's worth paying. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
You just heard from Marketing Boost. If you're new to our community here, Marketing Boost is a powerful tool to give you the wow, surprise, and delight factor. You'll be able to give away complimentary hotel stays to over 130 destinations around the world, from 3 to 7 night stays, plus hotel savings cards that come in increments of $1, $2, $3, and $500. Use those for smaller calls to action like book an appointment or what have you, and restaurant savings vouchers. And to give you an idea, Damon, before we get into talking about trust tax, you mentioned before we hit record button, you've got a trade show coming up and wanted to ask me about ideas on how you might use these incentives to stand out from the crowd at the trade show. So let's take a look at your website first. What are you going to be at the trade show discussing? What is the goal of the trade show?
So the trade show it's a learning and development, it's an ATD trade show. But essentially what it is, it's a conference. And if you're pulling up the Learn It website, there it is. We are in the process of doing a big makeover of our website. But yeah, I mean, we're an exhibitor. We're going to have a booth at the trade show. And, the goal is to make connections and get people to come to our booth and connect with them and see if there's any thing we can, any synergies if we can work together.
Cool. And the audience at the show is like who? What type of people will be at this? They're all business owners, they're corporate world. What are they?
I would say the target audience, it's 10,000 people, and it's mostly senior HR managers and learning and development professionals.
Cool. So everybody, lots of people, regardless of what industry they're in, what business they're in, what management role they're in, they like to travel. So let me quickly show you give you an idea that's worked well for
Do it.
a lot of, if you happen to be watching this on video, you can see on YouTube or Rumble that we're showing here. I've got an image up here of an idea that you might have a countertop signage at your booth or a big poster banner to stand out from the rest of the trade show vendors and offer a chance to win, to register to win a 4 or 5 night luxury getaway. Actually, right now we have 7 night getaways in Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, Acapulco, Mexico, for example. So you could be saying, hey, register to win a 7 night stay in Cancun, Mexico, a couple's getaway. And then you might have on here, for example, all entries will win a $100 hotel savings card just for entering. So you could have a QR code like we're showing here. So right there, everybody pulls out their phone, takes a shot of it, enters their name, phone number, email. And of course, you could have your logo on here somewhere because we have these graphics available for you to edit. And then you could add your own logo, your own, smaller print here. Also receive information about learnit.com and so on and so forth. And so as people are walking by, the first thing you're trying to do is just get them to register to win. Now you're capturing their name, phone number, email, and you can set up automation within our system to automatically send everybody who did register a hotel savings card. And then you could randomly pick the winner, or you could literally, with our membership, you could let everybody who registered be a winner if you wanted to. You could be calling on people, say, hey, what, congratulations, you are a winner. Now, they don't include airfare, they don't include food and beverage, and they don't include government taxes and fees. And that's another thing that could be on the disclaimer or on the landing page after they register, to let them know exactly how these work. So the quick, does that kind of give you an idea of one of many that you might use with standing out from the crowd there at the trade show?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it looks great. I think people love opportunities to travel and go new places, and I think it could be a great way to have them come by our booth and
Right. By the
engage.
way, if you're new and listening to this, what would it cost Damon to do that at his booth? Our membership is ridiculously affordable. I mean, we've made it. We used to be at $197 a month for our service, which was still a bargain for everything that we provide. But we're back to our classic price that ever since COVID, we dropped our price to $37 a month, and we're still there. We haven't gone up yet. And so it's $37 a month. That gives you the ability to give away as many of as you want, Damon, as a member, of these all three categories of these incentives to your clients or prospects, to get them off of the fence and take action, such as registering with your booth or even buying your product. Is another thing you could be doing is, if everybody's registered, once you meet with those folks and you get them on a Zoom call and you talk to them about your courses and your training and inviting you into their community, you could be saying, hey, if you do, hire us to come talk to your organization, etc., we'll give you, the organizer of the community, of the thing, we'll make you an automatic winner. You'll get your 7 nights in Cancun on us. And then you'll give them, of course, it doesn't include airfare, food and beverage, government taxes and fees. Those are the only 3 disclaimers you need to give somebody, for example. Um, so back to,
Sounds
so that,
great.
yeah, that gives you an idea there. Anybody listening, again, you want to go check out marketingboost.com to get more ideas and look at the case studies on the website of how we've helped all kinds of industries use these types of incentives to either generate more leads or close more sales, etc. So sorry for plugging me so much, folks, but let's get back to Damon here. And we were talking about, I wanted to get first I never really got the answer, your take on hiring potential over experience, and why you think that is. It sounds like that might be more affordable for the small business owner, but why, at the same time, we look at resumes and we're looking for experience typically. Why do you think potential is better than experience?
In most situations, and for all positions, you can't always hire for potential over experience, but this is something that's happened organically through Learn It, because when we had our headquarters where we were for 25 years, 26 years in downtown San Francisco, as a small business owner, it's very hard to compete talent-wise against Salesforce, Stripe, all these massive companies, right? I mean, you just can't compete compensation or benefits wise. So what I learned early on is to find great talent who is early on in their career. So maybe people who are just getting out of college, or maybe individuals who want to make a complete, career change from working retail at Nordstrom's and they want to get into the business world. And a lot of times how you can do that is just to, when you're interviewing them, see if you if you believe that their values line up with your company values. And what I really look for is less about what it says on a resume and more about the drive that person has. Is this somebody who's got a growth mindset attitude? Is this somebody who you think that wants to learn and evolve? And then you bring them on early on in their career. And like we mentioned earlier, you give them responsibility, you delegate tasks to them and give them the space to be able to do the work. And with that, they'll learn, they'll fail, and sometimes they'll grow and evolve. And that's what I've been so proud of over the years we've been able to do. And one of the ways that I first learned about this, are you familiar with the Southwest story at all, Marco, from Herb Keller's book?
Well, I'm a little bit. I mean, how he got his whole team involved in ownership of the company, so to speak, or what do you fill me in?
What I'm referring to is one of the greatest stories I ever heard, and it's called the 10-minute turnaround. And so when Herb was first running Southwest, they were on the verge of going out of business against all the massive airlines. And so he sat down and he thought, and he said, okay, the only way we're going to be able to compete is we're going to strip out all of the, all the fancy benefits or whatever that come along with planes, and we're going to reduce our prices. And so he brought that to his executive team and to the board. And he said, our prices are going to be at this range. And everybody said, well, that's impossible. You can't do that. In order for us to do that, that means we'd have to have more flights per day. And the turnaround time would have to be as low as 14 minutes, which was unheard of. A turnaround time is, you have to fuel up, you have to clean the airplanes, you got to get people going. And they said, there's no way we can do that. We'd have to go out and we'd have to hire the best people from Delta, American, all these airlines with the most experience. And Herb's like, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to go out and hire a bunch of young, inexperienced people who don't know any better, train them up and tell them, you need to get it done in 14 minutes. And you know what happened? That's why they called it 10-minute turn. Not only did they beat that expectation of 14 minutes, they got it down to 10 minutes for the 10-minute turn. And so that's an example right there of hiring for potential over experience. The experienced people would have said, forget it, we can never do it.
Can't be done.
Can't be done.
Can't be done. That reminds me of a story back when I was running a sales team in the alarm business. This is a good story. I had a team of door-to-door sales guys, and we'd go door-to-door selling alarm systems to businesses or to homes. And I would literally lead them at, let's show you how you do it. Middle of summer in Florida, we'd be going door to door, talking to people about the break-ins in the neighborhood recently. We were like ambulance chasers. We'd follow the news wherever there was a break-in. We were in that neighborhood the next day. But anyway, I had this new guy hired on the team, and didn't expect too much from him. He was an overweight guy, is Latino with a strong accent,
Yeah.
Spanish accent. And I figured this guy's not going to amount to much. But we had a contest, whoever hits the 21 sales or what have you. I'm trying to remember the details here. If it was like you had to have more than 21 sales for the week. Well, the dude understood 21 sales in a day in order to win the contest. And, that had never been done. And this guy went out in the morning first thing, and he was out banging on doors all day long. He's calling in, sales to the call center to register each one. And, he came back in with like 24 sales, and he worked till like 10:30 that night. And he came in, and I'm still waiting for him to close up shop. And he gets in there, and he, it's like, did I win the contest? And I'm like, you certainly hell did. But I mean, like, how'd you do 24 sales in a single day? And he goes, well, wasn't that the contest? I had to have a minimum of 21. I was like, holy smokes, that was supposed to be for the week.
I love Marco. I love that story. you
Yeah.
know.
Because it was total he had he had, if he had any clue, let's put it this way, he never did it again. If he had
Yeah.
any clue that that wasn't that was not something that was possible, he wouldn't have been able to hit that many doors and close that many sales, because he had the belief, the expectation, others have done it, I can do it. And but anyway, that's pretty funny. So back to, so that makes sense. Hired the people with the potential and the
Right.
enthusiasm, and
Yep.
then and train them your way, versus sometimes the experience, they bring a lot of bad habits with them along the way as well. Um,
Set in their ways sometimes.
True. So talk to me about what you referred to. I mean, we're just finishing up tax season. That was painful for me anyway. Tell me about the trust tax and why it's worth paying.
So the trust tax, and I think this is also very relevant and important to small business owners. What I refer to by this is, as you go through life, both in professional and personal relationships, you're going to get burned sometimes. You know, you're going to put a lot of, if you're somebody like me or my father, you're going to put a lot of trust into people, and a lot of times it's going to work out. Sometimes these people are going to take advantage of your trust. They're going to cheat. They're going to go out and start their own business. They're going to, just not be upfront. They're going to. I had a guy once who went to a what do you call it? He went. I sent him to a conference, cost me $2,500. He came back and 2 weeks later quit and went to go work for that conference. I mean, for that company. So my thoughts around this is, you have two ways to go about life. You can be skeptical and think that everybody's going to do you wrong, or you can go into relationships or in business relationships, not with your eyes closed, but believing the best in people until they prove you otherwise. And I'm just a big believer that it's much better to go in believing people have the best intentions, and when they don't, if they screw you over, then you learn from what they did and try to avoid it from happening next time. And then, so if, let's say you have 10 relationships, 8 go well, and 2 don't go well. That's the trust tax. Now the tax is a little bit lower where you're at in Florida than out here in California, but you're gonna but that's really what it means. It's going out and realizing that people should have the best intentions, and if they don't, then moving on.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, risk. Everything's a risk. Everything's a gamble. And so put it out there, and it's kind of like, okay, karma will come back your way too. So yeah, even if you did train somebody and they leave and screw you, it's like somebody else, the next one will be the diamond in the rough that is a team player for decades or something. So
And last thing I want to say about that, because I forgot to mention it, because some people would say, well, I'm never going to send another person to a conference again because this is going to happen. Well, then you're missing out, because the next person might be the diamond in the rough that Marco you just mentioned. They might come back to the conference, from the conference, grateful, and elevate your business to the next level. So don't let the bad experience always overshadow what the potential is.
yeah, investing in your team and training them is probably one of the best investments you can make, because you're only as good as your team members when it comes to delivering and so on. I was just showing on Amazon here where they can find your book, the Learn It All Leader Mindset, Traits, and Tools. You can get the book on Kindle for $6.49, paperback for $15. Great book to go get. Here you see all what's included. We're also going to take another look at your website here. Tell us more about Learn It and what we can find on available to us here on your website. What the resources you have? What do we have here?
Okay, so Learn It, we're a learning and development company. We mostly B2B. So companies come to us when they're looking to onboard new managers. Maybe they're trying to improve their internal communication, or even learn technical skills like how to use Excel, PowerPoint, and we'll have a couple AI classes, which are obviously top of mind for everybody. Our classes are both virtual instructor led. We do it on Zoom, kind of like we're doing right now, or on demand. And if you are as a listener to this podcast and you want a free class, I'd be happy to give it to you, to either you or somebody on your team that would benefit from it. All you have to do is reach out to me on LinkedIn, at Damon Lembi on LinkedIn, or to Marco, and I'm sure he'll pass it on to me. And I'll send you a code, and you can take a class that's valued up to $250. So I love giving individuals the opportunity to take classes, and the only thing I ask is show up, be engaged, and maybe shoot me a message. Let me know what you thought of the class.
Wow, that's a hell of a gift for our community here from David Lembi on LinkedIn. Reach out to Damon Lembi, Damon
Yep.
Lembi, and so ask him for the code for your free course, and you'll get access to that. All of those links are down in the notes below. We'll have links to his LinkedIn page, links to his website. And so if you got any comments or questions, please leave us a comment or ask a question in the comments below. We'd really appreciate that. We're going to be right back as we hear some more powerful insights from Damon on leadership. But we're going to take a minute and hear from our sponsor, Automation Booster. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Is your business on autopilot yet? Do you have automation in place to capture, nurture, and convert prospects into clients via email, SMS, ringless voicemails, appointment setting? Get all the inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on automating your business so you can make money while you sleep.
You just heard from automationbooster.com. Guys, if you own your business and you haven't automated things, if you don't have a CRM system where you're capturing your leads, putting them into a pipeline, nurturing them with email, text message, voicemail broadcasting, and your sales funnel builder all in one place, you're missing out on what Automation Booster can do for you. I've been an internet marketer since 1996. I have never seen a tool this robust, this powerful, that gives you all your inbound and outbound marketing tools under one roof, with over 100 templates that we're going to give you for all kinds of industry niches that include the Marketing Boost incentives built in and automated. So when they take your call to action, you can be automatically delivering one of the restaurant savings vouchers, or the hotel savings card, or the complimentary hotel stay when they bought your product, and so forth. So go check out automationbooster.com and learn how you can start making money while you sleep with automation. Automationbooster.com. Damon, we're back with you, and looking at your book here, talking about leadership.
Hey, Marco, can I make one comment about automation since we were just talking about it?
You bet. Please do.
For all you small business owners out there, take advantage of opportunities like Marco's talking about. I mean, one of the best ways, especially these days, is automate whatever you can, as much as you can. Whether it's lead generation, whether it's, if you can automate some of your AR process, but there's so many great tools and companies out there that can help small business owners really keep your head count down, right? So because you don't have to have humans doing all this work out there with these tools that people like Marco have built.
Yeah, and it wasn't long ago that there's actually still people that are trying to piecemeal pieces together. They're using constant contact for their email. They're using easy texting for text messaging. They're using another third-party service if they're doing ringless voicemail broadcasting. Then they pay ClickFunnels for the funnel builder, and then they're trying to patch all these tools together, which requires some IT expert, and good luck. Well, that's what Automation Booster does for you, all in under one umbrella. So when you log in, whether your clients are communicating with you via email or text or voicemail or on Facebook or WhatsApp, they can all come into one united or universal conversations tab. So you or your VAs can log in and see all of your client communications and feedback and so on. I've never seen anything like it. Again, go check out Automation Booster. So again, we're plugging my products again, Damon, but I guess that's
all right. Hey, I think it's important for small businesses, to strategically know what's out there. It's all part of the stuff I talk about, learning and evolving, instead of just thinking, this is how I've always done things, this is the way it has to be. It's always about getting curious and trying out and doing things differently and better.
Yep. So give us some more wisdom of yours on proper leadership. How do you learn it, and how do you not be a know-it-all? Because I mean that seems like one of the things that a lot of I think management has. You got the egocentrical type manager, leader, owner, founder, who won't listen to others. He's kind of like, I got it, I know, and doesn't want to be open-minded. So how do you what do you recommend on that anyway?
Well, those are a little bit difficult to change sometimes. I look at it, and I talk a lot about this in my book. Know-it-alls and learn-it-alls. So know-it-alls are pretty much what you just explained. They're individuals. They have all the answers. They're afraid to admit. Well, internally, I think that people are know-it-alls sometimes because they're afraid to admit they're wrong, or maybe they just don't like change. So you have a conversation with them, and they're very defensive, like this is how it has to be, this is how it's always been. And I don't see a lot of growth opportunities there, and I think that you can easily be passed up. Now on the other side of the fence is learn-it-alls. Learn-it-alls, I think the key traits to be a successful leader are humility, curiosity, integrity, and courage. In learn-it-alls, humility, it's really like being open to saying, I don't have all the answers, and even being vulnerable, but vulnerable with confidence. I don't have all the answers. What do you think we should do? And not being afraid to make mistakes and continue to evolve. I talk about, great leaders aren't born, they're not made, they're in the making. If you feel like you've hit your pinnacle and you know everything, well, you're going to get passed up. There's always more to learn, especially these days with AI and everything that's coming out. We always have to be I think great leaders, great small business owners are always looking to the future to think about your customers, what they need now, what your product's serving for them now may be different, will be different in 6 months or a year. And you need to be on the forefront of that and continue to have that curiosity to continue to evolve and grow.
I want to go back to one of the things that makes your view on leadership different is that you come from the athlete, come as into the leadership role from sports first, and having played for 3 Hall of Fame baseball coaches. Tell us how that affected your take on leadership.
Well, that's a great question. I've never really had a job before I came to learn it, right? I was always playing baseball, but what I didn't realize is that yes, I played for 3 Hall of Fame coaches at Pepperdine, College San Mateo, and Arizona State, and playing for these gentlemen, it helped me. I kind of learned through osmosis just what great leaders do, and I've had some coaches who are terrible leaders, and what I learned from these great leaders, they all knew how to set a vision, a clear vision and moonshot goals. Like I said, at Pepperdine, we were a small Division I college, and nobody thought we'd win the College World Series. And the year after I left, they won the College World Series. So it's kind of like what we talked about earlier. It's setting a vision, getting your team behind it, and moving in that direction. And so that's really what I've learned. They've taught me how competitiveness, that failure is okay, because you're gonna have failure. There's no smart, small business owners. If you think that everything is just gonna be a straight line trajectory, you're gonna have failures and you're gonna make mistakes. And it was just a tremendous learning opportunity, learning from those gentlemen, along with the other people I've met throughout my career. But you learn a lot from sports. You learn how to collaborate. You learn how to be disciplined. My coach at Pepperdine only had two rules: show up on time and do the right thing. Show up on time is pretty self-explanatory. Do the right thing. Players would say, well, coach, what does that really mean? It's pretty broad. He's like, no, it's not. When something's right and something's wrong. Do the right thing. And the same thing goes for business owners. If you're cutting corners, it's going to catch up to you. So those are some of the lessons that I've learned, Marco, as from playing from 3 amazing baseball coaches.
Yeah, it made a big difference in my life playing organized sports and being part of a team. For me, it was football, but absolutely made a big difference in my entire life. So let me ask you this. One of the things that I found in your book was how you consider employees, you refer to employees as team. I mean, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, we're family," or this our organization, our company, we're family. But you say you should refer to people, your employees, as team instead of family. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I've developed great relationships with my employees over the years. But when you look at it, I think as a business owner or a team leader, your responsibility is to put an elite team on the field at all times. And it goes in both directions. There are times where employees who've been with you quite a while, um, they outgrow your company. Maybe they outgrow the role, and it's okay to move on, and they don't have to feel bad about it. I look at it, I say, Aunt May is always going to be your aunt. You can't not invite her to Thanksgiving, but that's not the same with employees and companies. Uh, Say, for instance, if you're an organization and you're at the 5 million mark, and you're trying to scale to the 50 million mark, the person who's your director of operations or your COO may not be the right person to get you to that next level. So it's your responsibility to put up the elite team on the field at all times. And sometimes, unfortunately, that means making tough, bold decisions.
Like you
Doing what's
would with
best.
the baseball team or the football team. You got to
Exactly.
we need a new quarterback, and
Mhm.
we're going to have to pay top dollar for the new quarterback to lead us in the Super Bowl, or we're going to need a new, a better pitcher for next season, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that means making those hard decisions of
Yeah.
have to making a cut or or moving someone over or what have you. Yeah.
Moving somebody to a different position, or maybe helping. I've helped numerous employees. I talk about this in my book. One of my good buddies, Jim Millay, worked at Learn for 18 years, and we sat down like, hey, you've maxed out here. It's time to move on. And he didn't want to do it. It's been so long to be in the since he's been out in the workforce. Well, he moved on. He got out of his comfort zone. He found a new job, and he's just doing a fantastic job where he is. And Learned's been able to, like you said, we freed up some salary cap like you do in sports, and brought in a couple people who've helped us take us to the next level. So it's just, I think it's important to look at your organization as a team, not a family, for those reasons.
That's a good point because as you start referring to them, even with words matter, right? So if you start
They really
referring
do.
to, so as you start referring to your team members as, oh, we're family, I treat you all like family. Then if you do need to make that cut, you have a totally different feeling towards it because you've said so many times over a period of years maybe that hey, you're like family. Well, it's hard to fire family, right? That's part of the problem of hiring family in the first place. Then you end up with that nepotism that never goes away. So,
Yeah. And you
yeah,
got to kind of remember that you owe it to the rest of your team. You owe it to the rest of your team to put the best group out on the field at all times.
wow, great stuff. One more time, Damon, how do people find you? What would you got? What would be the next step you'd recommend our listeners do today to get more from what Damon offers with Learn It?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would start with connecting with me on LinkedIn. I do my best to put out content that I think adds value. Shoot me a message. I'll send you a free class. And go to our company website, learnit.com. I've got my own personal website, the Learn It All Leader, that has some of the articles I've written and the podcasts I've been on. And yeah, just connect with me. And if you're a small business owner and you want to run some questions by me, or feel free to do so. I'm happy to help.
And one more time here. So it's LinkedIn, Damon Lembi, and his website. One more time here is learnit.com, learnit.com. Again, these links, you don't have to go write it down. The links are right down in the notes below, whether it's you're listening to the podcast or YouTube or Rumble. Uh, Click the links down below to get a hold of Learn It, to get a hold of Damon. to click on marketingboost.com, Automation Booster, all down in the links below. If you like the content we brought you today, folks, please give us a comment first. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us what you didn't like about the show. Give us any kind of comment. We'd appreciate it. Well, maybe we'll appreciate it. Let's see what you rate. And then don't forget to like the content and share. If you think of any other entrepreneur out there who's looking for leadership ideas, looking for marketing ideas, looking for automation ideas, share this podcast with them. And that's something we truly appreciate. Folks, again, thank you for your time and your attention. We'll see you. Don't stay thirsty, as I like to always say. Stay thirsty, my friends, for knowledge. Stay thirsty for knowledge. We'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.